Good evening, everybody. You are watching Mario's History Talks. I'm Mario Hristovski. We have a great show for you this evening. So, among other things, we have surpassed 600 subscribers on YouTube. That is absolutely fantastic. Not a dime has gone into any marketing. It's all been organic outreach, which really shows this is a grassroots-led movement by Macedonian patriots all around the world, and we're making this movement a reality for many more Macedonians by all of our efforts, not just mine, so thank you to everybody. Not just this, but our Facebook pages and Twitter pages are doing really fantastic as well. So if you haven't been on the train, do subscribe, do follow on Twitter, do like us on Facebook. It's the best way to ensure all our videos are spread and the message does get across. And as for today's episode, I'll be pretty honest with you, I am beat. The last episode took a lot of time for me. Just got a new promotion actually at work, so I've been working longer hours. So we're going to have kind of a little laid back, kind of a cozy episode. And by that I mean we're going to make it very low-key. What's going to happen for today's episode is somebody actually gave me a really good idea about where I get a lot of my sources and inspiration from. Well, it's actually from my music. So a lot of the music that I listen to actually has songs, stories that are historically rooted in actual events that took place in Macedonia. So for today's episode, we're quite literally going to hit the shuffle button on my phone, hit a random song, and whatever that song may be, I will discuss it. I will give you the historical backdrop to it, the facts, you name it, to help you understand this song. Hopefully, it's a song you like and will listen to on a daily basis as well. So if that sounds good to you, I'm all for it. Let's get started. Let's get started. I'm going to take out my iPhone here and literally I'm going to hit shuffle. It's going to pull up a random song for my Macedonian playlist and we'll see what it lands on and what we can talk about it. So let's see. Alright, and shuffle. Okay, perfect. This is actually the really good choice. It's a song I venture not a whole lot of you know about, but it's called Mitovareo Kalesh Dontcho. Or in English, my good-looking Dontcho was carrying. Not in the sense you're thinking of, if you know a lot of modern-day slang, but I'll explain in just a bit. And in fact, I'm actually going to pull a music video for the song and put it in the video so we can look at it together. Sound good? Let's do it. Alright, so this is a song regarding a famous incident, or I should say infamous incident, that happened to Vamaro in 1896. So in 1896, Vamaro was still a relatively new and fresh organization. They really didn't know much of what they were doing. But during these early stages, they saw the need to have channels of communication and logistical transport channels all across Macedonia that connected them to not only their networks, but also to Bulgaria as well for their secret transport of weapons. Their whole idea was to have a peasant revolution across all of Macedonia against the Ottomans and basically liberate the Macedonians from both psychological but physical oppression as well. And during these early days, Gotse Delchev decided they needed to start communicating with other committee members across Macedonia. And in 1896, he picks a man by the name of Done Stoyanov. He too is a native of Shtip. He knows Gotse Delchev, and obviously he trusts him as a result. So he's handpicked for this mission. The mission is actually pretty simple. He's supposed to deliver 2 letters and a sack of rice. One of the letters is meant for Prilep, while the sack of rice and the other letter is meant for Bitola. Now why is he delivering a sack of rice, you may ask? Well, he's actually not. In the sack of rice is actually hidden a bunch of bombs that are meant to be hidden and stockpiled by the Bitola committee. So, in the early morning hours, I believe of April 3rd or 4th, I'm going to have to double check, 1896, he sets off. He arrives in Prilep quite uneventfully, but when he goes to Bitola is when the trouble happens. When he's there, he is seeing a lot of traffic and build-up preventing entry into Bitola. This is happening because the Ottomans are actually looking for contraband tobacco and a lot of the traders that are going into Bitola. This is a common occurrence at the time. So Dontcho realizes he has to make himself inconspicuous and destroying the evidence. What does he do? Well, he destroys the letter. He actually eats a part of it. This is a protocol of Vamaro to not be discovered or imprisoned. And he collects himself and tries to get through the gate. Unfortunately, he is caught. The Ottomans all have these metal rods that they're using to see the belongings of the passengers and the traders going into Bitola. Unfortunately, he hits metal in Dontcho's bag. He finds the dynamite in there. Dontcho tries to make a run for it. He is immediately caught and imprisoned. And this is where the story takes, I would say, a dark turn. While he's in prison, he is not in a room, he is not in a dungeon, he is quite literally placed in a cupboard. This is a cupboard where he couldn't even lay down. It was dark, it was musty, it was full of mold, couldn't even see daylight for the most part. But nonetheless, that's where he was placed. And Vomero at the time period, like I said, they were pretty young. They still didn't know what they were doing. They started freaking out. They thought immediately, who could take this torture? Dontcho will squeal on them immediately is what they thought. And that's a pretty logical assumption. I mean, he was tortured with hot metal rods, placed in places I don't want to talk about. He was deprived of food and water. I mean, this was barbaric. So they actually had a secondary plan that if he squealed, that they would, or actually before he squealed, that they would go out and take him out, assassinate him, just so he doesn't reveal the secrets of the organization. But as luck would have it, Dontcho was a man of his word and was steadfast in his dedication of Vomero. Despite all the trials, tribulations, and torture, he did not reveal one iota about Vomero. The only communication he said to Vomero, he asked that his wife, that his children are given sacks of flour so they're able to survive in his absence, and that he'd rather die than reveal the secrets of Vomero and their fight. So he didn't. But what's actually pretty interesting is what happened to Gotse Delchev as a result of Dontcho. Like I said, this whole incident, the Dontcho affair as it was called, basically was a wake-up call for most of Vomero to change. Now, Gotse Delchev, surprisingly enough, was in Stip during this time period. He'd gotten back from Sofia. And around this time, the Ottomans are beginning to suspect there is underground revolutionary activity, and Gotse Delchev is one of their prime suspects because he does travel quite a bit. So, an Ottoman soldier is telegraphed from the committee, from the Vali, I believe, of Bitola, saying this man from Stip was captured, and we need you to search his home because we found bombs in his sack of rice. Now, this may surprise a lot of you, but a lot of Ottoman soldiers were not actually that educated in their native language. So this was written in Arabic, the telegram was. This man did not know how to read the Arabic script. He spoke Turkish, could not read it. So he goes to Gotse Delchev, who, among other languages, was very fluent in Turkish. And this is one of the most charming and lighthearted episodes of Gotse Delchev's life that actually reveals a lot about him and his character, which not a lot of people actually know about. So, this man, the Ottoman soldier, goes up to Gotse and asks him to read the letter. To him, the word for bomb looked like the word for tulumba. Not the dessert you're thinking of. Tulumba actually comes from the word for pump. It was a water pump. And because the tulumbi actually looked like a little water pumps, that's why they were called tulumbi. So he's asking, why was there a tulumba in his sack of rice? Not realizing that it was another word entirely. But Gotse Delchev, making himself look like none the wiser, agrees with him. He says, yes, this says tulumba. I don't know why this says tulumba, but that's clearly what it says. So the Ottoman soldier, I mean, he's seeing that Gotse is maybe playing dumb, maybe not. He's trying to feel him out. So he starts asking him more questions. He's saying, so, schoolmaster, why is it that you travel so much? Where are you going? And Gotse Delchev, in a pure Gotse episode, he says, and I quote, well, you know, I'm a lonely, bored school teacher. You know how I gets. I can't help myself. I don't need to explain what he's referring to, but Gotse Delchev was making himself out to be like a Casanova, a womanizer of Stip, basically. So he's playing dumb. And then finally, the Ottoman soldier, reading the telegram some more, he says, and what about this dinamita? What is this dinamita all about? And Gotse, kid you not, he says, Dina. Well, Effendi, I don't know any girl named Dina. I've not had any encounters with any Dina that I know of. So again, he makes himself out to be completely coy, a womanizer, Casanova, like I said. But he pulls it off. The Ottoman soldier, he gets frustrated, but he thinks Gotse is what he's claiming to be. He doesn't know much. So he gets off the hook. That was one of the first encounters for both Vomero and Gotse Delchev. But he gets off the hook. He is briefly taken to court afterwards and tried to be imprisoned by the Ottomans, but there's no evidence. Why is there no evidence? Because Dontcho did not reveal anything. Dontcho was sentenced to prison, but he was amnestied after only a couple years, and he was released. So both Gotse Delchev and Dontcho played the Ottomans beautifully. They protected the interests of Vomero. And what happens afterwards? Well, Dontcho tries to go back to Vomero in Stip, still too dangerous for him, so he actually has to go work abroad from Kustendil. and he works as an agent of Vomero up until his death in, I believe, the 20s. So that's what happened with Dontcho. But as for Vomero and the rest of Gotse Delchev, this was too close of a call. They realized they needed structure, discipline, and organization. So they actually come together, they make the constitution and bylaws of Vomero, establishing a full central committee, regional committees, village committees, representatives. I mean, they had assignments and roles for everybody imaginable, and they were able to not only create a structure to them, but actually give themselves the semblance of an actual organization with actual laws, committees, you name it. Now, to the degree to which it was successful, that can be argued for another date. But nonetheless, this was a turning point for Vomero in the movement to liberate Macedonia. And the Dontcho affair, as many would know it, was huge for the day. In fact, the song that we were listening to was penned shortly after this happened to raise morale and create Dontcho into a martyr and a hero for Vomero. And I don't disagree with it. He was. He is Vomero's first martyr. Alright folks, and that does wrap up our episode for today. Like I said, it's going to be a quick and casual one, but nothing wrong with that. You still learned about a new figure in the Macedonian revolutionary pantheon, so I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. A couple things just to give you a quick update on. Your favorite history teacher may also have to be traveling quite a bit in the coming weeks, so I'll give you an update as to when it's happening and for how long. Do you really need to know why I'm going? Better you don't. It's going to be for the revolutionary cause. But best way to know about when I'm coming back is to give me a follow on Twitter, a like on Facebook, and a subscribe on YouTube. And secondly, please keep sending me in your submissions for an episode, suggestions, improvements, you name it. Even if I don't get to reply to all of them, I nonetheless read everything I am sent. I do appreciate it immensely when you reach out to me, so please don't stop. And who knows, maybe your submission will be featured in a full-length episode one day. Might as well just submit it. So that pretty much is all the news I have. I'll be going along with my sacks of rice now, but in the meantime, folks, stay safe. Keep fighting for Macedonia in the best way that you know how. I'm going to see you again soon. Do as I told you, please. Just stay in touch with me, and we'll see each other again.